Scugog reminds residents of the importance of voting in the upcoming municipal election. Dan Cearns, The Standard. Scugog. The Township of Scugog is continuing to remind residents to vote in this year's municipal election, either by paper ballot at advanced polls or online, after hearing some confusion from local residents. Despite acclaimed municipal candidates in 4 out of 5 municipal wards, there is still an opportunity for residents to vote for the Durham Regional Chair and School Board Trustee positions. Residents in Ward 5 will also be able to vote for their next ward councillor. A lot of people are thinking they don't need to vote or there's no one to vote for because of how many acclaimed positions there are, Clerk Becky Jamieson explained. But she stressed the importance of residents casting their ballots for the regional chair and school trustee positions. It's very important. As much as voting may seem like a small act, you're voting to affect and impact who is going to be at the table making decisions which could directly impact you. The regional chair position is the head of the regional council. They're essentially part of the council, making decisions which impact regional services. That's our garbage, regional roads, social services, various things like that, Ms. Jamieson said. In regards to school board trustees, they're making decisions and they're advocating for residents with respect to issues affecting our local schools. Those wishing to vote with paper ballots can do so at the Scugog Community Recreation Center on Tuesday, October 18th from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. and on Saturday, October 22nd from 10 a.m. until 7 p.m. Advance polls will also be held at the Scugog Island Hall on Monday, October 17th, the Blackstock Recreation Complex on Wednesday, October 19th, and the Greenbank Centennial Hall on Thursday, October 20th. All 3 of those advance polls will run from 1 p.m. until 7 p.m. The Township will also offer voter assistance centers for residents to access Wi-Fi, receive their voter information package, and cast their online vote. For more information, go online to www.scugog.ca. Ms. Jamieson expects voting results on election night to be made available quicker than they were in 2018. So, because we're doing the hybrid method, we're using vote tabulators for in-person voting, similar to the provincial election. When residents come to cast an in-person paper ballot, their ballot is being handed over to an election official who is putting it right through the vote tabulator at that moment in time. While the results will not be tabulated until polls close on election day, unlike in 2018 when it was voted by mail and we actually had to open all the ballots, count them, run them through the tabulator, and there were numerous issues, that process will be eliminated, so the results will come a lot quicker, and we are hoping to have them out to the public by 9 p.m. There are 4 candidates for the Durham Regional Chair position. These include incumbent John Henry, Cardil Telt Patch, Peter Neal, and Lori Blaine Mackey. There are also 2 school board trustee races in North Durham. Seeking the Durham District School Board trustee position are Carolyn Morton and Gordon Baxter. The Durham Catholic District School Board trustee race is between Richard Damianopoulos and Tim Robbins. The only race for a township seat is in Ward 5, with Ivo Fanati, Imran Louis Mohammed, and Terry Coyne campaigning for this job. Election day is on Monday, October 24th.
Lumberjacks defeat Knights on the Thanksgiving weekend. Dan Cearns, The Standard. Scugog. The Port Perry Lumberjacks had a successful Thanksgiving weekend, defeating the North Kawartha Knights on Sunday, October 9th. Over 6 minutes into the game, held at Scugog Arena, and on a Lumberjacks power play, Braden Vanetten banged a puck past the Knights' goaltender, putting Port Perry ahead 1-0. But, over halfway through the period, the Knights tied the game with their own power play goal. Both teams headed into the intermission with a 1-1 tie. Nearly 5 minutes into the second period, Quinn Arnott broke the deadlock with a goal, making it a 2-1 Port Perry lead. 6.5 minutes later, Jeremy Poulin, finding himself in front of the Knights' net, spun and shot the puck past North Kawartha's goaltender, extending the lead to 3-1. 3 minutes after that goal, Cameron Marshall capitalized on a Lumberjacks 5-on-3 power play, giving the Lumberjacks a 3-goal lead. With under a minute left in the period, the Knights would sneak the puck through the legs of goaltender Cameron Hansen, cutting the lead to 4-2. The Lumberjacks scored 2 goals in the third period. and held on to win the game 6-2. The third period goal scorers were Braden Roberts and Nolan Goddard. After the game, head coach David Ayres stated, "This team has thrived so far this season with multi-goal leads. As soon as we get on board, these guys get pumped up. Once they get the feel for it, they keep rolling, so the confidence is coming along." One-timers. The Lumberjacks will be busy this weekend. They will head to Apsley on Saturday, October 15th, for another match against the Knights. That game will be held at 7:25 p.m. The next home game for the Lumberjacks at Scugog Arena will be on Sunday, October 16th, against the Clarington Eagles. The puck will drop for that game at 2:25 p.m. In their first 6 games, the Lumberjacks have a record of 3 wins, 2 regulation time losses, and 1 overtime loss.
Indigenous learning. Dan Cearns, The Standard. As some have likely read in last week's newspaper, Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nation Chief Kelly LaRocca held a public education session at the Scugog Community Centre last month, before the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. As someone who was in attendance that night, I was surprised not just by the number of people who showed up to an educational event, but also by how much new information I learned and the perspective I gained from being there. Just touching on the turnout, with the way it seemed voters were apathetic during the provincial election and the recent lack of candidates in municipal elections, it was heartwarming to see a packed room for an informational event on Indigenous people's issues. It was even more heartwarming to see a standing ovation at the end of the event, showing just how well attendees received the information provided. I also heard there was a few tears shed during the presentation from other attendees. Was hearing Chief Kelly LaRocca bring a unique perspective to the presentation. Not many in this community or in this province can weave anecdotes and keep an entire audience engaged on issues of law like Chief LaRocca. I felt like I left with a greater understanding of the Williams Treaties and the law decisions which have been made over the years surrounding the First Nations peoples. She found a way to really bring out the human perspective in history. One of my overall takeaways from this event was reconciliation is about partnerships, as well as listening and becoming educated on the issues which First Nations have faced and the issues they face today. It's about finding common ground with your neighbor, while also respecting their cultural differences. I think people should also remember, while some First Nations groups share some experiences or beliefs in common, there should not be one cookie-cutter approach to reconciliation efforts. Like all peoples across the world, First Nations peoples are a diverse people. What may help some might not be the best approach for others. So again, listening is key. Indigenous education has been mandated in Ontario schools, and to me, this presentation is exactly the way people should learn about Indigenous issues. Not with a line or fact in a history book, but instead with real stories, more human narratives, and proper context. Think of what we can learn if we only take the time to listen.
Lakeridge Health launches a plan dedicated to mental health and substance use care. Dan Cearns, The Standard. Durham. Lakeridge Health has launched a new 3-year plan to tackle mental health issues and substance use care. This plan is titled Together Best Mental Health and has a time frame of 2022 to 2025. It was launched on Tuesday, October 4th. This plan includes 5 strategic directions. The first is ensure inclusion. The second is to create better access, navigation, and transitions. The third strategic direction is improve outcomes for the most vulnerable. The fourth is drive integration with primary and community care. The last strategic direction is demonstrate outcomes. Within each of these directions, there are a number of recommended actions. As one of Ontario's largest hospital systems, Lakeridge Health is known for providing evidence-based mental health and substance use care delivered with compassion. Read a statement from Lakeridge Health CEO Cynthia Davis. Together, Best Mental Health will allow us to transform how we plan and deliver our services, providing clients with the right services from the right people in the right place at the right time. Some of the recommended items in the plan include hiring staff who represent the population served with an initial focus on Indigenous people, creating enhancements to the emergency department space to improve the patient experience environmentally and structurally, partnering with the Region of Durham in their Beaverton Supportive Housing Initiative, establishing additional walk-in access to screening and short-term interventions for those with low to moderate mental health and substance use issues, increasing outreach care in local communities by 25% by March of 2023, and implementing measurement-based care in order to collect evidence on what is working in communities and what isn't. To read the full plan, go online to www.lakeridgehealth.on.ca. Dr. Kevin Chopra, Lakeridge Health's Chief of Psychiatry and Medical Director of the Mental Health and Addictions Program, told The Standard, the launch of this plan is just one step towards dealing with the issues of mental health and addictions in Durham Region. The more we create a system of care in the region, the better it is. And this is our starting point, and this is going to be work which we will continue to be doing over the years. Beth Brannon, Lakeridge Health's Senior Director of Mental Health and Addictions, explained why a 3-year term was chosen for this plan. I feel this plan is a very ambitious plan, and we want to do it right. We want to do right by the people who need us in the region. We want to do right by the healthcare providers who have been through a really challenging time in the last couple of years. We want to do right by our community partners. So I think it's important to pace it out, recognize what we can do realistically year by year, and also have compassion for the individuals who are doing this work in the context of the health human resource crisis. We don't know what the COVID-19 landscape is going to look like in the coming years, so we have to have some flexibility in the approach. I think 3 years is a great way to start the plan. Dr. Chopra talked about what Lakeridge Health learned during the consultation phase of this plan. I think a lot of concerns or suggestions were raised from patients, families, and any other community providers. One of the major themes was access. How can providers or patients access services more easily or seamlessly? Dr. Chopra explained. What the community would like is more of a centralized access service where families, patients, and providers can contact a particular number or area and learn about services and find what the right service is for that particular need at that time. This is work asked for by the community, and this is work we are doing now.
Twin sisters create a healthy community and win a conservation award. Courtney McClure, The Standard. Brock. 7-year-old twins Carly and Cassie Rye from Brock Township have been awarded the Healthy Community Award for the 2022 Lake Simcoe Region Conservation Awards, LSRCA. Carly and Cassie have been cleaning up garbage around their neighborhood for about 3 years, starting at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. They walk down the street with their mom, Andrea Hall, hauling full garbage bags on their way home. They usually collect a lot of garbage during their cleanup sessions, whether it's from around their playground or closer to home. Collecting garbage has become an annual adventure for the girls and their mother. The girls are now in 3rd grade and attend McCaskill's Mills Public School. Sometimes we'll see garbage at school, and we'll just start collecting it, explained the twins. If they see litter, they are always inclined to make sure it goes into the garbage, explained Ms. Hall. The girls were inspired by their participation in Earth Day, a program at their school where the students clean up litter. Carly and Cassie also mentioned reading a book with their classmates called No More Plastic by Alma Fullerton. No More Plastic tells the story of a young girl who fights against ocean-centered pollution. She takes action by adopting a zero-waste lifestyle into her family's lifestyle. They learned how an abundance of litter negatively impacts local wildlife and contributes to environmental pollution. The sisters love animals and want to protect them in any way possible. Cassie's favorite animal is a giraffe, and Carly's favorite animal is a donkey. We pick up garbage so the earth doesn't die, said Carly, explaining how she and her sister celebrate Earth Day. And to make the earth clean, added Cassie. According to the twins, there are many things people can do to clean up their community and celebrate Earth Day. For example, it's a common practice for elementary schools across Ontario to turn off all the lights inside the school during Earth Day, and leave them off for almost an entire day, if possible. Ms. Hall told her daughters this helps conserve energy and prevent people from wasting electricity. According to Carly and Cassie, one of the most important things people can do is to pick up garbage they see laying on the side of the road or in their own schoolyard or playground. At home, the twins show their support by recycling their paper and cardboard products. To learn more about the Conservation Awards and the Healthy Environment Award, please visit lsrca.on.ca.
The Standard Podcast was produced by Greenstream Studio for the Standard newspaper.